Hey, everybody, before we get started, we just wanted to remind everybody once again that we are continuing our workshops all around estimating numbers, using estimating systems because Katie has declared it the year of the numbers. Well, everybody needs to know their numbers regardless of your size of your business, whether you're just starting out 3 years in, 5 years in, 10 years in. If you're still struggling, it's never too late to learn your numbers and get some things turned around. So we're hosting all these workshops where you can come in, get your questions answered. We'll introduce estimating systems to you if you are not familiar with them and are like, what? These already exist? Why have I been trying to come up with my own spreadsheets? Why have I just been charging what everybody else down the road is charging?
Yeah, and I don't see a whole lot of people actually promoting these estimating systems. I don't think there's really much. There isn't.
I don't know why they're not talked about more, because if you purchase software, these systems are, it's the same thing. I don't know. Am I supposed to say this? Am I supposed to say this out loud? But a lot of times when you buy estimating software, this is what they're using. Yeah, so I don't know why more people aren't talking about it, but I guess we'll talk about it. Yeah, I don't care. Sure.
We'll spread the news. So yeah.
I guess. So let everybody know, hey, we'll tell you all about it.
Yeah, and you can sign up for the workshop. It's the website is millionairelandscaper.com/power hour. So you can get signed up for that. They're happening in July. And we'll probably continue them into August and September and stuff.
We're going to keep going. As long as there's people signing up, as long as people don't know their numbers and don't know how to estimate, we will continue to do these and for the foreseeable future. Because like I said, I'm on a mission. I want everybody to know their numbers. I don't want anybody to just be flailing around doing God knows what.
Well, why struggle and why make it harder for yourself when you can spend a little bit of money and a little bit of time and you can learn this stuff so easily.
Exactly. Invest in yourself. Yep. You are worth it.
Absolutely.
All right. We'll be right back. We want to take a quick second to tell you about our friends over at Cycle CPA. I can't even express to you how important it is to have a good accountant on your side. You know you want accurate bookkeeping and financial statements every month. Instead, you're often left with limited time to focus on the accounting side of your business and no reports to show for it. At Cycle CPA, the landscaping accountants, they not only handle the bookkeeping, but also provide landscape industry benchmarking, job costing, financials by service line, advisory meetings, and much more. Cycle CPA has a team of landscaping accountants available to provide anything from bookkeeping to CFO services. Visit cyclecpa.com, and for $100 off, mention the $1 Million Landscaper podcast.
EasyBeasy's easy to use, easy to learn, affordable work order and time clock app with unlimited users included with every subscription. If you've ever struggled with the daily grind of keeping track of work orders, you have to check out EasyBeasy. Make and edit work orders anytime, anywhere you're working, at your desk, in your truck, on the job site, even on your couch. With EasyBeasy, you can easily copy work orders to use over and over, which is great for mowing and plowing. You can also keep track of employee timesheets, contact your customers, add notes, instructions, even pictures of your jobs. EasyBeasy works on Android and Apple devices or any tablet or computer. EasyBeasy also has a wide variety of reports so you can have all the info you need for billing right from your phone. Say goodbye to paying for extra users because everyone gets unlimited users on EasyBeasy. Try EasyBeasy for free for 30 days. Visit easybeasy.app/MDL to sign up. EasyBeasy is a simple work order and time clock app for mow crews, hardscape crews, and everything in between. Start saving time and money with EasyBeasy. Visit easybeasy.app/MDL to sign up today.
All right. Today, I wanted to help you all just kind of work through what to do when a client, they like you and they want to go with you, but they want you to drop your price. Because I did just see this inside the Facebook group recently. A person got a text from the customer saying, hey, they really liked them. They really wanted to go with them. But the next closest bid that they got was like $3,000 less than the estimate, that they gave them. So they wanted to go with them, but they wanted the person to do the exact same scope of work, but drop the price to match the lower quote that wasn't theirs. So basically they just I don't know, they thought this was like Walmart or something. They wanted a price match. And this can be really dangerous territory, especially if you really want to do that job. If you were vibing and you like them and the job is cool and they would make great Instagram pics or whatever, but it can be really dangerous territory because this is where people who don't know their numbers can really get in trouble. Because if you drop your price and you don't know your numbers, you could potentially be really shooting yourself in the foot when it comes to your profits. Because for once, this episode isn't about talking about numbers, but I just had to add in. I know numbers is the hill we're going to die on, and it is 2023, the year of the numbers. But I just had that in. I had to add that in because that's the hill we're going to die on. But if you don't know your numbers, you could be in a lot of trouble. But we're not going to talk about numbers. What I'm going to talk about is how you can kind of handle this a little bit better, so you come off smelling like a rose in this situation compared to some of the other landscapers. Yeah. So in this scenario, you've given the potential customer, I can't talk today, customer a quote, a bid, whatever you want to call it, and they like you. They think you're professional. They're like, that's great, but please drop this price to match, the next lowest bid that I got. And, your stomach drops, your hands start to get sweaty. You might get a little bit like mad or offended, like, how dare you? What are these people, But what you're not going to do, first, we're going to talk about what you're not going to do. You're not going to get defensive. You're not going to start trash talking.
That's something I hate when I hear people say that they just start knocking on the competitors. Like, don't do that. Please don't. It makes you look like trash. Don't.
Yes. So you're not going to just get mad and start trash talking those other people. That's not what we're doing here.
We're professionals.
Yeah. But here's what you are going to do. Pay attention. Get out a piece of paper. Get a little pencil if you need to. Take some notes. If you're driving, you can come back later and write this down. But what you're going to do is you're going to keep in mind, first of all, that most people just want to be heard. And they want to know that you're listening. So let them say their piece. Don't interrupt. Just let the customer say what they have to say. And then the second thing you're going to do is you're going to keep in mind that people not only want to be heard, they want to be understood. So they're going to want to know that you were paying attention, that you listened. And the third thing you're going to do is you're going to just look at this as an opportunity to educate your customer, like just a little bit. This is not an opportunity, like we said, to complain or to trash talk. We're not doing that. Because lowballers have always existed. Like, they're going to be here forever. They always will. But here's what you're going to do. You're going to say something like this. I understand why you got multiple bids. That was really smart on your end to make sure that you're going to get exactly what you want within your budget. See, you're being very nice. You're being kind. You're not being like, well, I don't know why you got those. And then the next thing you're going to say is, that being said, most people think that just because they got multiple quotes for the work, that they can do like an apples to apples comparison of the prices on those quotes. And I get it. You'd like to think that just because you're hiring a contractor, it would guarantee that you're dealing with a professional who knows what they're doing and will be getting the job done right. But if that were true, then everyone who hired a contractor would love the work that the contractor did, and you wouldn't have all these horror stories of people that like hired a contractor, hired a landscaper, and they did this like terrible job and everything was a mess and they had to keep calling them back and out to fix it. And so if you continue to think that if you can directly compare quotes and automatically go with the lowest quote, you might find yourself living one of these contractor nightmares. And I'd hate for that to happen to you. So then, like, how do you make sure that you're comparing apples to apples on your quotes? Well, let me show you what we do. So you're going to establish yourself as the expert. Let me show you what we do. And you can talk them through what you do, like, and how we're going to do it right. And then you can use that information to guide you as you go back and talk to those other landscapers and you compare quotes. So then you can proceed to explain to them like your processes and what you do and you're the right contractor to go with. This is you taking the high road. You have listened to them. You have confirmed that it was good that they got quotes. You're not going to like make that a bad thing. You're going to be like, what, that was so responsible. See, this whole time, you're just kind of reaffirming them. You're making them feel good about what they did. They're going to know that you listened. But sometimes those homeowners just need a little bit of education because they, honest to goodness, might not know that they can't directly compare these quotes. They just don't know. They're not doing this to be mean. They're not doing it to necessarily squeeze money out of you. In their minds, they legitimately think that this could be like a price match at the Walmarts. Because what we don't want you to do is to just lower your price without even trying to educate them a little bit around this.
But
So, or go ahead.
that's something that many people, just like you said, they get sweaty, they get nervous, and yeah, we can do that. We can match that price without having to understand everything. You absolutely should not be doing that right off. You came up with your price for a certain reason. You should be able to stick to that. I know I've had customers say, well, you do this, we'll get you some more work in the future. Maybe. Now, I'm not saying that, it's definitely a potential, but what if you don't? What if that doesn't happen? You lowered your price here just to break even and you're not making any money on that. So,
because there's always going to be that one customer that like wants to wheel and deal and be like, oh yeah, but I'll get you in. And then my neighbor, and like, there's always going to be somebody who thinks they want to wheel and deal.
Yeah. And there's a lot of things too you can do even before this happens to even get to that point. Mm-hmm. Like Kitty mentioned, having your process. And I think that's awesome. That's something that needs to be done. In my mind, it should have been done before the estimate has gone out, like establishing the process of how things happen, how things work in your business.
And you might have done that in the initial sales call. But once again, the homeowner isn't going to remember that. And they're not going to be like, oh, I'm comparing the same thing. Yeah.
So you definitely need to be educating either before the process or after, or before the estimate or after the estimate. You have to be educating them.
Well, because once again, we're just back to they might not know. And because Scott has a story about a patio where he did pretty much this exact same thing.
Yeah. So I was bidding out a sidewalk, and it's been a long time. I'm trying to remember here, but it was bidding on a sidewalk, and we presented the quote to the customer, and the customer looked at it and it was like right around the same thing. I remember being a couple $1,000s difference in price, and this customer came in and or your competitor came in and bid at this price. I'm like, okay, great. I just want to make sure, are we estimating the same project, the same scope of work? And we were, the same materials and everything, essentially. So I asked him, I was like, just curious, by chance, did they say how long this project should take? And they told me the exact date or time. I'm like, okay. I was like, well, for us to offer the warranty that we do, we offer a 5-year warranty on our hardscape projects. For us to guarantee this project, we have to make sure our base is correct. I'm like, I compared it to the foundation of the house. Like, if you have a bad foundation in your house, the rest of your house is going to eventually come down. I was like, when we build our patio, we want to make sure we have a proper base, proper foundation first. So in order for us to do this project, it's going to end up taking longer than what the competitor said. I'm like, that is because we make sure our base is installed properly. And I went through the process of explaining how we put it in. We put it different layers and using the right compactor to compact it, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to get it here. But I went through and educated the customer on what our process was, what we did. And once they saw that and started realizing it, we ended up getting the project because they saw, oh, that makes more sense because they're doing it this way.
Then they're happy to pay the extra couple thousand because, my patio, or I keep saying patio, my sidewalk's not going to shift. It's not going to heave. You'll guarantee it for 5 years and stuff like that.
I was actually talking to a person to have on our podcast this morning, and one of the things they mentioned, we're explaining each of our stories, what we do and everything, and I explained how we help landscapers and stuff, and with pricing and all that stuff. Anyhow, they have a program that helps landscapers get back in contact with customers. It's a CRM software. And they said they would gladly pay. This is them that does not deal with landscaping industry as a whole, but they said they would gladly pay more for a landscaper that would get back to them and address issues and do these types of things because their software can help do that. But
yes, they
said they would gladly pay that. So just hearing customers say that is like a huge thing, that they'll pay more just for them to call back and respond back and doing that, educating them. So
well, once your potential customer understands your process, even if they then go back and talk to these other landscapers that they got the quotes and prices from, they have something to compare it to. Like you educated them. So even if they did go back to those other people, they could ask like, well, are you compacting in layers? Are you doing this? Are you doing that? Yep. So once again, you've established yourself as the expert. Now you're the standard. You're the standard. Yep. And if those other people aren't going to meet your standards, then you can't do it for less. And if they're going to do it for less, they probably don't know their numbers. Sorry, I always have to shove those numbers in there. They probably don't know the numbers, or maybe their business can just do it for less, and that's okay. Then that just wasn't your customer. Move on to the next one. Don't dwell over it. Just move on. But really go back and pay attention to those words that I said, like that, just like that verbal process I took you through there that's just a really nice way to speak with people, to make them feel understood, to feel heard. And so you just don't come off really like sleazy or bad, or like I said, like bad mouthy or everything like that. Because it makes a difference. And you might want to throw in, years ago, we gave a price to my girlfriend. Her parents wanted kind of like a raised patio put in. It was like stairs and the patio was raised up, whatever. They did not go with us. Because our price was too high. It has since failed and is falling apart. So
it's been falling apart for a while.
It's been falling apart. And so not only did they paid to have this installed correctly. Now they're going to have to pay to have it torn down and then rebuilt correctly. So you're by doing it right the first time and having your customer understanding your process, you're saving them from potentially having to have this, because this happened with water features as well. How many water features did we have to go in, rip it out, fix it, and put it back? So then people are paying like 3 times for it because they didn't just invest the first time. So use stories like that to help just to get your customer to understand that there's a reason why your price is more. And
there's a lot of education that's needed out there. You know, if I've heard many people say this too, like there's a lot of information that's wrong, incorrect that's out there too on the internet as far as like pricing and stuff. And it's our job as a professional is to educate them and teach them this type of thing.
I feel like the landscaping industry is in the middle of like a glow up. I think for a long time, people expected that landscaping could just be cheap. I'm just going to like hire this guy with a truck and then pay him like $50 and 2 cases of beer. And he's going to do this like marvelous work for me. And I think we're really, as an industry, we're getting past that. The level of professionalism is going up. Landscapers are getting more educated. They're educating themselves. They're investing more in their business. I don't know. I feel like the industry's on the verge of a glow up, and that kind of stuff is going to be falling by the wayside, or it's just for the people that are really just going to only go by price and just want the cheapest stuff. And that's okay. Like that's just not your customer. Move on to the next one.
Yeah, no, absolutely. To me, like you said, it's the education, teaching them the process and just
like I said, but go back and listen to how I said it, because how you say things sometimes matters a little bit as well. So go back and and take notes on that. So
and I guess just touch a little bit on that aspect of how you say it is. It's important to, in my opinion, speak to the person on the phone or speak to the person face to face rather than just texting. I know texting is easier because some of that stuff is very hard to come across.
This process I just gave you would be way too hard to text out. This would definitely be an in-person or face-to-face.
It's much easier to do that rather than texting or email. So just keep that in mind.
That's a very good point, because I was assuming people understood that this would be vocal, not texting.
Not always.
I'm sorry, I'm old. I forget that a lot of people do a lot of this through texting.
Well, that was our process. I preferred to go speak to the customer as much as possible, whether on the phone or on person, rather than.
I suppose it depends. Like this is something you would do for like a bigger job. You wouldn't necessarily go through this whole process for like $60 to mow your yard or something. This is for a bigger job. So
just keep that in mind.
Yes, very good. Thank you for pointing that out. So, all right, that's all I got. But you can deal with customers that want you to drop their price, and there is a polite way to do it. I guess is my point. We don't have to bash other people.
Yes.
Make sure that you listen and make sure they feel understood, and that you educate them. It's the best we can do. And if they still don't go with you, then that's on them. They're not your customer. Just move on.
Don't worry about it. Yeah, just keep in mind, not every customer is your customer. So just keep that in mind.
Yep.
So, all right, guys. Well, hopefully you can join us on June 20th. I'm sorry, not June 20th.
In July. We're going to have a workshop in July. I don't know if the date is down. I don't remember the date offhand. But
it'll be in July. There'll be some more in August. Join us for $1milliondollarlandscaper.com/power hour. Get in there and get signed up for these amazing workshops. We go through, educate you, and we show you some of the estimating systems that are out there and help you become better.
Get your pricing on point. So then you will have the confidence to go through this process when people want you to drop your price. You'll have that confidence behind being like, sorry, can't drop it.
Yep. And if you guys don't mind, if you can head over to iTunes and leave us a review, we greatly appreciate this. We want to get our message and everything we have to see or teach, I should say, out to everybody. So
the more good reviews we get, the more iTunes will push this out to landscapers that need to hear it.
Yep. So head over there and leave us a review. All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us today and hope you have a great day.